There's a fascinating new attitude cropping up in this industry, specifically from indie devs. If the big guys aren't willing to give us the kinds of classic games we want anymore, the fans will just say screw it and do it themselves. Times are changing, yes, but standards have not. There will always be someone chasing the graphical and technical ceiling, and that someone will always be willing to spend millions of dollars to do it. But what that also means is that these days, the tools are available for anyone determined enough to create a great old-school game with a comparatively tiny budget, and still do it well. Such is the case with Freedom Planet. While it's fairly obvious where it pulls its ideas from, like any good tribute, it expands on those ideas in ways that feel fresh, fun, and extremely satisfying. In fact, it innovates so much it walks the line of doing its own thing. The physics are perfect. Even when brought to a halt, you can get your momentum back fairly easily, even scaling the dreaded curved walls with very little wind-up needed. So yeah, don't worry, you can run fast in this game, and there are many sections where you will run fast, should you so choose, but that's not really the appeal here. The best part of this game is exploring all the nooks and crannies of every stage, because no matter where you look, there's something else to see. Some other hidden cache of goodies, some other path you never would have taken otherwise, and some other little detail that helps flesh out the world as a character all its own. There are just so many things to do in these stages. Just when you feel like you're falling into a pattern, it throws some new mechanic or challenge out to keep you on your toes. And it's not just the stuff that helps you move forward either. Spinning the wheels in Fortune Knight never gets old, encouraging that discovery aspect in the hunt to find more machines. Tracking down the yin-yang symbol in every stage rewards you with a bonus game where you can spend those otherwise useless elemental cores. You can get extra lives from this, and even a shield to start the next stage with, so it's a huge boon. Honestly, if you just blast through this game, you're missing a lot of what truly gives it its personality. And speaking of personalities, let's talk about the ones that let you do all this exploring. There are 3 in total right now. 1 is unlockable, and an extra 2 have been promised to be coming down the line via DLC. Don't misunderstand, though. The initial 2 play so differently, they're more than enough to keep you busy. Yeah, they both jump, they both attack, they both have a meter that regulates how much they can use their special moves, and they both gotta go fast, but that's where the similarities end. I'm sure Lilac will have her fans, what with her higher attack power, her cyclone, and the ability to dragon boost her way to just about anywhere, but when it comes right down to it, Carol is a lot more fun to control. Wall jumping is way useful for finding collectibles, and even if you're not a fan of her pounce, go pick up a gas tank and tell me she doesn't immediately get better. Seriously, how cool is it that they took one of the most ridiculed aspects of the entire Sonic franchise and turned it into one of the best things about this game? This is a motorcycle that can climb ladders, drive up walls, damage enemies just by running into them. Hell, you go faster than Lilac on this thing. It feels genuinely sad when you screw up and lose it, meaning you are actively rewarded every single moment of gameplay, not just for being observant enough to find one, but also for playing skillfully enough to keep it. That, my friends, is the very definition of good design. My only problem? You can't take your motorcycle into the bathroom. But I guess we can't ask for everything. So, the gameplay is great without directly cloning its inspirations. The presentation is fantastic even in the format it chose, and have you been listening to those tunes in the background? Well, you should, because that is some seriously catchy composure. Energetic and easy to get stuck in your head, the best kind of music for a platformer. All that leaves is a good story. So how about it? We got our cake, can we eat it too? Almost. Look, you guys know me. I don't get my jollies from beating up indie passion projects like this, and Galaxy Trail, I know you were super excited that you raised enough money to hire legitimately good voice actors. I would be too. But you broke the show don't tell rule. You broke it so badly. We have 2 entire stages with acceptable sized breaks in between, and then a massive cutscene. How massive? We're talking 12 minutes. And the sad part is, it's not the only scene in the game of that length either, and I'm not including the ending. We meet a new character. We go home. The girls engage in comedic relief. Backstory. Lots of it. We check in on the bad guy. The heroes get called to action. We re-meet the person who called them to action. And then I pull out my Android and start playing Metal Slug Defense. There is so much unnecessary fat in this scene that could be trimmed with the right direction. That whole bit where we had to meet Gong again so he could tell us the reason he's sending us instead of himself, that was unnecessary. This isn't Europa Universalis. I don't need to know the logic behind your political maneuvers to stay engaged. And if you were really that worried about patching up plot holes, you have voice actors. Why not let the characters chat about it during the stage so I have something to do while I get a bunch of exposition dumped on me? This is a video game, and the best video game narratives are the ones I experience rather than simply observe. Here alone is where Freedom Planet fell short, which is a shame because I see hints of genius here. That moment where I walked straight from the conclusion of the boss fight in the temple to the crystal mines without even a results screen to slow me down, that was one of the most euphoric moments I've had in a platformer in a long time. Even when I can take my hands off the controller, the fact that the characters still use animations and voice clips that happen naturally during gameplay gives it that same sort of seamless feeling, a strange charm that helps blend the interactive and non-interactive together. I'm glad the characters are so likable then, because if I didn't love these people so much, they would have outstayed their welcome a long time ago. Now bear in mind, you can skip all of these scenes, and there is a classic mode option that just does it for you automatically, but the problem is, if this had been handled correctly, there wouldn't be a need in the first place. But again, I guess we can't ask for everything. Either way, Freedom Planet is a blast. It's fast, creative, full of personality and charm, and it's yet another example of what can happen when Kickstarter is used for good and not evil. Platformer junkies rejoice, because for the first time in a long time, you finally have a good 2D Sonic. Furries and all.